Hey everybody, my name's Michael. Really big thanks to Corey for having me here. This is my very first time on limitedmagic.com and hopefully not the last. But this is actually like my sixth take doing this. Corey wanted this video to be sort of 6 to 7 minutes tops, and I really like explaining things. I'm pretty in depth with my explanations, so all my videos were always 8+ minutes. So I'm just going to do a very short introduction and then I'll dive into things right away. So Corey contacted me on Reddit.com on the Magic the Gathering subreddit, and he looked at my YouTube channel and liked some of the content on there, and so we thought I would be a sort of a good fit to make a video for you guys, just sort of the top 5 things that I've learned while playing Magic, because I am a newer player. I've only been playing for about 4 or 5 months, but in those 4 or 5 months I've really dove into the game. I've just been hooked so bad, really passionate about it, and so I've learned as much as I can and I've played as much as I can, and I really strive to help newer players as well. So hopefully these 5 tips help you guys out, to those of you who just are getting into Magic or are newer to Magic like I am, as well as some of these tips might help out the older Magic players as well. So let's get on with it. Let's just dive right into it. These aren't in any particular order. These are just my top 5 things that I've learned while playing Magic. So tip 1, avoid raging. Easier said than done, I know, but in Magic this is called tilting. So tilting is when you make a mistake and you get frustrated, right? This sort of mindset gets you to forces you to make more mistakes. It causes you to make more mistakes, and that sort of steamrolls, and you just keep making more mistakes on top of that, and it just gets really out of hand. So that is easier said than done, I know, but it is something that you really want to avoid. You want to try and turn that into a positive experience. What I mean by that is, when you make a mistake, just sort of take a breather, calm down, and try and learn from those mistakes. Figure out what you can do better for the next matches, as well as if you can't do it in that particular moment and you can't calm down then, after the game, just sort of cool off, even ask your opponent, what could I have done better, and I'm sure they'll give you tips for the next games. Tip number 2 is to try deck building. So I urge everyone to at least build one deck in their Magic career. It doesn't have to be top tier, it doesn't have to be amazing, but I think it's a very good skill to have, is to know what goes into a deck, and how to build a deck. I think is just very good. You figure out why things are that you figure out why top tier decks are top tier, not only because of their cards, but the way they're structured, which is, I think, only comes from deck building. Knowing how to build a deck and what goes into it is just a really good skill to have. Plus, it's very rewarding. It's very rewarding to build a deck from scratch. Not copying ideas or copying a top tier deck and just changing it around a bit, just creating your whole new creation just on your own and having it work. I've had that with a couple of my decks. I love deck building. It is one of my favorite things to do in Magic. And so when I find a new idea and it works out, I'm just ecstatic. It's just a really good feeling to have, and I urge everyone to do it at least once in their Magic career, because I think it's a good skill to have, is to know how to deck build. Tip number 3, boosters. Well, these aren't really tips, I guess, but top things I've learned. Number 3, boosters are fun. Buying singles is smart. So what I mean by that is, when you go to your local Magic store, your local game store, I guess, and there's a cabinet or there's binders full of Magic cards, that is what I mean by buying singles. If you know what card you want for your deck and you're building a deck or whatever, and let's say you need 3 copies of Sphinx's Revelation to finish off that blue-white control deck, don't open up a whole bunch of Return to Ravnica boosters and hope to get three of those Sphinx's Revelation. They are mythic rare, and they are expensive, yes. It'll cost you about 60 some bucks to actually get the card, get 3 copies of the card if you buy singles, but it'll cost you probably a couple $100 in boosters to actually try and get those 3 copies of Sphinx's Revelation. It is always going to be cheaper in the long run to buy singles. That is what I urge everyone to do, is know why they are buying boosters. Just acknowledge the fact that you're buying boosters for the feeling of opening boosters. I know how addicting opening boosters are, and I know how fun it is. So just as long as you realize that buying singles is more economical and more cheaper in the long run, it'll just save you a whole bunch of money and a lot of heartache when you don't pull those certain cards that you need. If you know what cards you need, then buy singles. The 4th thing I've learned is to play as much as you can. I've read a lot about Magic. I've read articles, I've read strategies, I've watched a lot of games, I've watched a lot of streams, but the one thing I've learned is that won't make me a better player. It'll help me become a better player, but taking that knowledge and putting it into action by playing is the best thing that you can do. This is an experience-based game, and you're only going to get better by learning, and you're only going to sort of up your skill level by playing. There's really no way around it. You'll also, in turn, if there's one deck that you really like and you keep playing with it, you'll learn that deck better, you'll learn your own deck better, and you'll know how to utilize it better, because there's a lot of different ways to play Magic, and there's a lot of different matchups and interactions. So once you play those matchups more with your deck, you'll learn how to do better in the future. So it's just another way of, turning those mistakes into better experiences, and the only way to do that is by playing. The last thing I've learned is to just have fun and remember why you've played Magic. This is this is a tough thing to do for some people, I think, is to just remember why you've played Magic. For the older Magic players, I've seen them sort of lose track of why they played Magic, and they just are extremely frustrated and frustrating and very upset people. They just get caught up in winning, losing, stuff like that, and they forget why they played Magic. And I think knowing why you played Magic and sticking to that, it will just make your overall Magic experience fun. So, for example, myself, I love... Ooh, we're getting close to the time limit. I'll try to make this quick. The reason why I play Magic is I love to deck build. I love the deck building and the social interaction of Magic. Talking about decks, figuring out different interactions with other people's decks, talking about them as well. That is what is fun to me. Some people like to win. Some people are passionate about winning. Spikes is what they're called. And that is perfectly fine. That is another thing, is to have respect for other people's goals in Magic. Some people aren't always going to have the money to buy those top tier decks, as well as some people aren't going to want to, play a budget version of a deck. They're not going to like playing a top tier deck. Some people won't like doing that. That is another thing, is what I've learned is there's a lack of respect in the Magic community, I think, for people of different personality types, as well as different people who have different goals in Magic. And I think people just need to realize themselves why they play Magic, and just focus on that. You'll just overall have a good time, and it will make everyone else's experience much better, I'm sure. So those are my top 5 things I've learned while playing Magic in these short, quick 4 or 5 months, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this, and I really appreciate Corey for having me on limitedmagic.com. If you want to check out more content from me, I'm sure Corey will link my YouTube channel in the description, and I hope to see some of you guys on there. But again, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.